guys. It is December 2020. We're almost through this year, you guys. I'm in the process of driving to go and handle some errands for the family, like I typically do when I check in with you guys. This is the most convenient time. There's been so much stuff on my mind this week, and so many things that I've ran across, and I was like, oh, this would be good to talk about. One of the things that I was discussing with my husband, and I'll probably try to go more in depth on my podcast, but one of the things that I was discussing with my husband was I was listening to something the other day, and they were discussing the difference between men and women when they sex drive. Now, that in itself, women and men, for the most part, I think there is a huge misconception where people think that women do not have a sex drive that runs as high as their counterparts, and that's a falsehood. I mean, now, don't get it wrong. There's women that just don't really like sex. There's women that don't want it, but so are men. But for the most part, women want sex just as much as men. We may not think about it as much because from what you guys have explained, what I've heard from countless male friends over the years, boyfriends, and, my husband, is that men pretty much think about sex all the time. It's going to invade their mind to some respect at some point every day. It's gonna come up in thought. But women, our sex drive, we want it just as much as men. We have fantasies and act out in our mind things that we want to do, and like, okay, when I get home, this is what's about to pop off, or dang, I wish that I had someone so that I could do that, or I have learned how to please myself. Now, I'm not talking about myself personally. No knock to anybody that does that. That's just not my thing. It never has been my thing. That's just not something I could get into. But, if women did not have a desire, as a strong desire for sexual expression, sexual comfort, then the sex toy industry would really be struggling. It's not all about what it's just, it is a falsehood that, like I said, that men and women do not have similar sex drives. It just is. And I also, when they were talking, they also spoke about the problems that tend to arise in relationships when women, men want to have sex and then the woman doesn't, or, and how that arises. Now, their topic of discussion was saying, is it wrong? Basically, summarizing it, is it wrong for a man to cheat, or is it wrong for a woman to expect a man to be faithful if you are not on the same sexual track as them, where they're constantly wanting it and you may not want it as much? They more so focused in on, is it wrong for a man to cheat? But I'm saying as a whole, especially in particular when you're married. To me, it doesn't matter if you're married or if you're in a relationship. A commitment is a commitment. Now, there is a different level, a heightened level of commitment, of course, to marriage. But if you have committed yourself to another person, be it, through marriage, or if you've just promised each other, you are all I want to be with and I am exclusive to you, there is still a commitment that has been placed upon your relationship that should be acknowledged and should be held to. I don't think that, and I just listening to that just really sparked a lot with me. Now, what they did, they were very thorough in their coverage of the topic, and I really enjoyed it because it showed both sides and the thought process that men have, the thought process that women have, and expectations and everything. They were very thorough in their coverage of it. What I did not hear from the part that I was listening to was the spiritual aspect of it. Like I said, in particular when it comes to marriage. Okay? So, this is my own personal thought process on it, and this is what I was discussing with my husband, is that when a man wants his wife, there's been times where my husband has came to me and he's wanted to be intimate, and it wasn't that I did not want to be intimate. It was that I was tired, exhausted, and I just wanted to go to sleep, and the thing is that I wanted to tell him, not tonight, I'm tired, however, I strongly hold close to the word as much as I possibly can. I also want to make sure that my husband is pleased, because throughout the day the kids take up so much of your time and your thoughts and everything, and trying to make sure that they're straight. I don't ever want it to get to a place where I don't stop and think of him as well. So if he's voicing to me something that he wants, or he's gesturing in the way he does, that this is what he wants, I feel like it is my duty, for lack of a better term. I really wish that I could think of another word at this point. I mean, I feel like it is something that I should do, because he matters and his needs matter to me. That's a better way for me to put it, rather than just saying duty. And then, because, that was also something that was touched upon, and my husband has said that before in, previous discussions that we've had with each other, when we're on that topic, is a man, a real man, not a man does not want to have sex with his wife, his girlfriend, or whatever. He does not want to have sex with her if she is basically just going through the motions and having to force herself to do it just because she knows he wants it, but she really don't want it. A man wants his woman to want it. Do you understand what I'm saying? I gotta stop and get me something to eat real quick. I haven't ate all day. Hi. Can I get a order of zucchini?
Okay.
And a small orange soda, please. That's
Anything
all.
else for you?
No, that's all.
Okay, it'll be $6.53 at the second window.
Thank you.
No problem.
That is crazy, you guys. $6.53. $6.53 for some zucchini. Let me get my stuff together. Some zucchini and a small soda. That's crazy. Oh, I just dropped it. Anyway, like I was saying, where's my mask at? I'm all over the place, you guys. This is crazy. I'll be so glad when this whole mask thing is over and done with. It's annoying. Hi. So anyway, do you guys like my mask? I don't know if you could read what it says. Thank you. Okay, and can I get ranch dressing, please? Thank you. I don't know if you guys can see what it says. Let me see if I could get closer so that you can see it. Okay, it says, Waymaker, Miracle Worker, Promise Keeper, Light in the Darkness, my God, that is who you are. Amen, amen. I love that song. It's very hard for me to hear that song without getting emotional, and I know that's sidetracking. Oh, goodness. I know that's sidetracking, but I kind of just wanted to Wait, but anyway, like I was saying to you guys, um, like my husband was saying to me, no man really wants a woman to do it if she's not in it. It just doesn't feel right. There's been times when we've been in the middle and he could tell that I'm just not feeling it, and then he just doesn't want it anymore. And that's understandable. I mean, that's just like a woman. A woman, for me, on the flip side of it.
Can you do me a really big favor? When the parking lot open, I'll bring it to you.
Okay. Okay. On the flip side of that, let me take this off, Nutty. They got me waiting, y'all, but that's okay because that means that they're going to be extremely, extremely fresh. Forgive my eyebrows, you guys. I think I went too. Anyway, this is horrible lighting. Goodness gracious, this is horrible. Okay, let me let this dude out. Let me see if I could turn it this way and make it a little bit better. I gotta get me a camera, you guys. This is something that's so new to me. I don't know what will be the best camera for vlogging and stuff along that lines. Okay, here she go. It didn't go that. Let's see. Thank you. You have a good day too. Okay, so like I was saying, on the flip side of that, a man doesn't want a woman that is going to just doesn't want it at the time. He'd rather just wait for her to want it for the most part. Now, that doesn't include the rollover. And every woman knows what I'm talking about when I say the rollover. And every man knows what I'm talking about when I say the rollover. Meaning, in the middle of the night, early morning, you dead sleep, just totally knocked out, and they do the rollover, and they do the sneak attack, and you're asleep. Now, to me, I love the rollover. For the most part, it's been times when I've been super sleepy and I'm like, dang, just couldn't wait a few more minutes. But for the most part, I love the rollover. That sneak attack is beautiful for me. That's my preference. I don't have a problem with it. But anyway, like I said, okay, a man doesn't want it if you're not wanting it at the time either, okay? However, a woman, there are so many different components that go into the connections, the sexual connections between a man and a woman, because a woman does not want, you have to play it. Men are more on the physical aspect, and that is not saying that a woman does not want the physical, because we do. But when I say the physical of it, and this is kind of like veering off of what I initially said, but that's why I said it has sexual endeavors between a man and a woman have so many different components that go into it, because men are more physical, women are more emotional. I'm speaking for myself when I say this. If me and my husband for some reason are funking, for whatever reason it is, if we are funking, right? Or if I'm feeling like maybe we've had some words, we ain't feeling each other, or even if we haven't had words, if something's happened and I'm feeling emotional and I don't feel like he's meeting me where I'm at, I can't, even though, look, let me say this. My husband, to me, is the most handsome man walking, and that's honest truth for me. I know that there are plenty of men out there, but for me, he's all I see. He does it for me. And that is being completely genuine for me. He could walk around, and my husband's, if you guys knew some of the stuff that my husband wears, the tattered things he wears and stuff, you would crack up, okay? I've clowned him so many times about some of the stuff that he wears, and we laugh about it. However, what I'm saying is that it doesn't matter for me because of how I feel about my husband. He's my man crush every day. I tell him that all the time. You're my everyday crush. Not a Monday, not a Tuesday. You're my everyday crush, okay? that it doesn't matter what he has on, it does it for me. I'm ready. I look at him and I'm just like, dang, I want it. Okay, and that's just what it is. However, if we're not emotionally in tune with each other, if we've had words with each other, if I feel like he's not paying attention to something that I need on the emotional level, I can't get there. My body may be saying, dang, it kind of wants it, but if my mind isn't in tune with my body, it just ain't happening for me. Has nothing to do with desire. It's all mental and emotional. And sex, when you're just having sex just to be having it, that's one something. But when you are married or in a relationship, sex goes hand in hand. And for a woman, sex goes hand in hand mentally and emotionally. It goes hand in hand. If you want that experience to be heightened, if you want it to be good, you want your wife, I'm telling you, man, your wife, your woman needs to be, she needs to know that you're in tune with her mentally and emotionally. A lot of men think that if I catch her mind, then everything else follows. And to a certain respect, that is true. But if you are not, you could catch her mind, you could catch her body, but if you are not emotionally invested in her, not saying that you don't have feelings for her, that's not what I mean by that. What I mean is if you are not emotionally inclined to tap into her emotional needs, there's going to be a breakdown at some point. At some point, it goes past just having the fun of sex, and you need to know that your man is connected to you on all levels. And that emotional does play into mental, okay? I'm sorry, y'all. Anyway, so, but like I was saying, for me, there is a rare time that, if I catch the awareness that he wants it, that I am going to say, no, not tonight. I'm just not, that's not me. I try to make sure that I am on point, and it's not even just about doing duties. I just want to make sure that he's cool, you know. Okay, I don't know who that is, so I'm going to decline that. Anyway, you guys, so, however, so like I said, okay, a man doesn't want it if he doesn't feel like his woman is in it. But however, a woman doesn't want it if she doesn't feel like her man is in it mentally, emotionally with her. The physical comes instinctively when those components are interlocked. And I was thinking about it because it came across, and I could be wrong, it came across when I was listening to what I was listening to, as though the man was trying to make it seem as though it should be acceptable if a woman is not of the same sex drive as he is, to not expect monogamy, but to be willing to be open to him being able to dip out if his sex drive is higher than hers, which I totally disagree with. And I wanted to pick my husband's brain on it to see where he was at with it, and he disagreed with it as well. I did not ask him, and so this is an assumption. I'm assuming that if he was single, he probably, or, if we weren't married, he probably may have a different outlook on it. But his thought process is of marriage, and once you make that commitment is exactly what it is. It's a commitment. There's no, and I know some people decide, are open to open marriages and everything. If that's what you prefer, I pass no judgment on it. I am speaking simply of where I'm at with it and where my husband are at it with it. We don't believe that once you get married, having a loophole, is something that is healthy for the relationship. beneficial for the relationship. I just think that it leaves an opening for the enemy to step in and just wreak havoc. Some people say that they thrive off of it. I can't speak to that. I can't speak to, because if you're not looking at it from a spiritual eye, you may think that you're thriving, but you don't know what's in the background that's happening. And when stuff happens, you don't attribute it to the door that you left open for the enemy to play. You just think that it's life, you know. And I'm constantly trying to make sure I keep my windows, my spiritual house, my marital relationship. I try to make sure that all windows, doors, roof, everything is locked so that the enemy can't find any creep hole, any crawl space, anything, and I just think that it adds to that. But it seemed, and like I said, I could be wrong, it seemed as though he was trying to make it seem as though it should be acceptable. And what she was trying to say is that, women get tired. And it's true. When you first get into your relationship, typically everybody is going at it like crazy. You're excited. This is new love. You've never been able to express yourself with each other. And this is, oh my goodness, you're falling in love deeper and deeper. And you want to express that love. That doesn't change as you get into a relationship or once you get married or anything. A lot of people always say, especially men, oh, sex ain't what it was before we got married, or are you sure you want to do that, blah, 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 blah. They say all those, they put so many negative connotations on marriage due to sexual impact. But life happens, and it's not that you don't want to, but you can't help what your body physically goes through, especially once you add children into the mix. Okay? I'm sorry, y'all. But really, we have 6 children. Okay? 6. And it doesn't matter if you have one or if you have multiple. There's going to be an impact there, because let me tell you, our daughter, and now I'm learning with our youngest son, SJ. They kids can be some straight cock blockers. Now, I'm just being real. Kids can be she was the best cock blocker that I have ever known. And that's just being honest. We laughed and we got pissed at the same time. We laughed because she was so good at it at the time, but we got pissed because she was so good at it. I mean, she would be totally knocked out sleep. I mean, snoring, drool coming down her mouth, just knocked out. And excuse me, if you can see, my ring isn't on my hand. I lost it. I don't know where it is. But although it's not here physically, mentally, emotionally, it's always going to be there for me. And I'll always represent it. Side note. But anyway, she would wake up out her sleep. It's like her senses just said, oh no, they're about to try to do something. And she would just sit up straight. Almost every single time. And now I'm noticing that our youngest SJ is starting to try to develop her expertise in this genre. But when you have children, the dynamic is going to shift. And it's not just with children. Whenever you add a new element to your relationship that is outside of the intimacy, there's going to be it's going to be a slight shift. Now, it's what you do with that shift that renders the outcome of your relationship. Nothing, no one, no situation should be more important. Especially in the family structure, okay? My husband and I recognize that we have to put that, as long as we're good as a unit, Everything falls in line for the family, you know. And being completely transparent, there have been times that when it comes to my emotional needs, my husband doesn't meet me where I'm at, which plays into the physical outcome. But once we talk about it, it comes back around. So, but no, I strongly disagree with the premise that one equals the other. Oh, if you can't do this, then do this. Because what I was saying to him is, this guy, this guy is only talking about a woman's inability or a woman's lack of desire to be sexual, and a man's desire to want it all the time. But he's not stopping to think, okay, during the time, especially when it comes into children, because they kind of touched on that heavily. So that's what I'm going to focus in on right now when I say this. Once you start having children, there's a lot of responsibility, and although you're co-parenting, although the father does his job, the mother does her job and stuff, a lot of the responsibility of the children falls at the women, at a woman's feet in most cases. And at the end of a day, you may have set out and said, okay, I'm going to handle these 5 things in the day. Once your children are incorporated into trying to accomplish those 5 things, you have finished 50 things in the end of the day. Okay? That is basically all having to do with the children. And then at the end, you may have completed one of the things that you had that had nothing to do with the children. Okay, you guys, it was a little bump between the 2 messages because my video ran out. So excuse me. I don't even remember exactly what it was that I was talking about. Anyway, so no, I don't believe, and I don't know if you guys agree. You can let me know if you do. If you don't, that's fine too. But biblically, I can't do it no more. Oh, I'm so full. Anyway, once you get married, your body becomes one another's, you know. And to share your body with someone else when it is for your husband or when it is for your wife is out of alignment with the intentions that God laid out. So do I agree with what he said? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't. Okay. Gosh, I'll be so glad when I get this weight off of me, you guys. The aspect that he had not mentioned that okay, you guys, so I am trying to finish this message and I'm catching all kinds of havoc trying to get it done. This is a continuation from what I was talking about. And of course the messages are connected, so you don't know the difference, but obviously it's a different day. I'm dressed in a different outfit. But I really wanted to go ahead and end that so that I can post it. So, but yeah, like I was saying, the aspect, they didn't really touch upon the spiritual component as far as if it's okay to be with someone else if your spouse's sex drive is not as high as yours, because he didn't feel like they should have to force. A guy doesn't want to feel like he has to just, like the woman is just saying, just go on and get it over with, which I could understand that you want the person that you're with to be as into it as you are. So I get it. But trying to say that it's okay to, or trying to even ask the question if it's okay to step out is, from my perspective, just crazy. From a worldly mindset or a worldly standard, because it seems like everything is just no holds bar now. You could do whatever you want to now. Everything is supposed to be acceptable. If you try to challenge it and say that it's not acceptable and that it should be as it was, you get slammed for it. You're too traditional, or you're old school, or you're old fashioned, and everything. And old fashioned isn't always wrong. There are some things, obviously, some components that were preset, like racism and things like that, that of course needs to end. Prejudices need to end. Having those type of old school mindsets, of course, they need to have adjustments, because there's no benefit to that. Okay. But the flip side of it that I also wanted to touch on, that I wasn't able to touch on the other day, was, and what I had shared with my husband when we were talking, was looking at it from from a man's standpoint of saying, okay, yeah, you're tired, but basically I want you to be on, pretty much be on when I'm on, because that's what I need. And if you're not on, then I should be able to go someplace else. Well, you have to stop and think. You're thinking in the present tense. And my husband had made a comment jokingly with me, but joking serious. He had made a comment to me, with me, like last week or something, and I don't know what we were talking about, but he jokingly said, "Oh, well, we got to get in as much as we possibly can." And I said, "Well, what does that mean?" He said, "Because it's going to come a point, when I get older, that I'm not going to be able to do it, And he started laughing, and I said, "Well, that's no guarantee. I mean, because to me, it comes across as though his family is, they're okay in that area. But there are some men who, as they get older, and it's not even just about an age component, it could be a health component that hinders a man from being able to continue to perform the way that they were used to. Not getting too intense on it, and I really can't really speak too much into it because I didn't know his business like that. But my father loved, just being real, my father loved engaging in sex and high sex drive. And my, my mom, she didn't really trip off of it. I mean, of course she enjoyed it from, the stories I've heard over the years, but not like my father, to the point where, they separated. But my father, he just felt like he had the old school mindset in this respect that needs to be adjusted, where, a lot of men still hold on to the adage that the more women you conquer, the more masculine you look. And it's just not true. You have to ask yourself, who are you trying to please in a circumstance like that? Because if you're trying to get the kudos from your boys, or from, fellow men or fellow males, I'll say, then okay, it's ignorant bliss, but from a woman's standpoint, it's not what's happening. The more women you conquer, the more we looking at you like you dirty, or looking at you like you have a lack of maturity. Because if that's what you think is the definition, or one of the definitions of a man, then you're not on my level, but like I was saying, he had made that comment, and we laughed it off and went up. But then it made me think, after I heard when I saw the couple speaking, it made me think about what he had said. And I was like, well, but on the flip side, we're supposed to look pretty, be on point, Because he also made a comment about how not only does he want her to give it to him when he wants it, which pretty much is all the time, he wants her to be into it as much as he is whenever he wants it, which is pretty much all the time. And he wants her to look a certain type of way. He wants her to sexy it up for him when they are together. That it's nothing wrong with that, especially, but to expect that, I mean, especially if you have a very healthy sex life with your mate, you guys are going to have sex. I think the average for people are like 3 to 4 times a week. If you're really into it, then it's at least once a day. So you looking at about 5 to 6 times a week, if not more. And that's even with children, so that is a lot of responsibility to put on your woman. Men don't seem to get that. Men don't seem to really understand that. With men, you guys go and get a nice fade. That's going to last you for about a week or two, depending on how fast your hair grows. And you looking good. You don't have to really, I mean, even though, of course, grooming it and brushing it makes it look more popping, you could get up in the morning and your hair still look pretty much together. You could throw on, I know some people don't like the term wife beater, but you could throw on a tank and some jeans and that's it. And we're thinking that you're sexy. There's not a whole lot of work that goes into getting prepared for your woman, especially when we're in love. For me, my husband could walk around in the most tattered, tone up things, whatever, and he's still sexy to me. He still does it for me, regardless of what he's wearing. But for men, I understand that men are more visual. Men want their eyes to be lured in. I get that. But to request that and expect that to such a high expectation every single day is hard, especially once you start having like multiple children or you have a career or you're trying to hold down the house. Just it's a lot of different components that a woman has to juggle, and then you want us to turn around and be tens when at the end of the day we could be and did all these errands for you, for the household, for ourselves, for our jobs, multiple errands where it's like it's crazy at the end of the day and want to be exhausted, but we want to make sure that you're pleased. But at the same time, it's like it's got to be a give and take too. You want us to give ourselves to you, which in a lot of cases we're willing to do because we want you to be satisfied, but there has to be a middle ground there. Not all the time, because a woman does need to be on point when she can. If you got that little boost of energy, then utilize that. Do you hear me? If you got that boost of energy, girl, go slap on some makeup, go slap on some sexy and get sexy. But if you don't, your husband, your mate, there has to be some understanding to it. Plus, like I said, the other side of it is at some point through life's journey, there's a chance that men may not be able to perform or be able to, pipe us down the way that we're used to. And we're expected to just accept it and love you through it. And, as your sex drive is decreasing, ours may be increasing, especially seeing that once our kids start to get older and we are able to rediscover ourselves outside of our children, outside of being mom. Oh, it's a whole nother level of sexy that we want to reclaim that we have not been able to have or feel. Even if we dress sexy, we don't always feel sexy. You see what I'm saying? So as you're decreasing, possibly, we may be increasing and want to do. And then when you decide or when your body is not able to perform the way that you're used to doing, we're supposed to make the adjustments because we're the good women, and we hold you down. And it's kind of unfair because we're not, most of the times now it's different. Some women, you get mad, no, don't touch me, blah blah. Okay, well that's different. But most of the time when our husbands or boyfriends or whatever come to us with a need and we love them, there's nothing that we would want. We definitely want to be able to fulfill that need. We don't want them to want it from anywhere else but us. And we don't want them to experience anything outside of us because we want to be your everythings, you guys. You know. So I just think that I can understand where he was coming from, but I don't understand the end, the resolution that he brought forth. And he didn't say he was going to do that, so let me make that clear. But he did propose the question of, is it okay? My answer to that would be no. I asked my husband. I don't know if he was just saying what I wanted to hear. Well, no, let me take that back. I don't believe that he was saying what I want to hear, only because my husband is very into the word as I am, and he holds strong to that in many areas. So I do not believe that he would feel like it's okay. Um, I know he wouldn't, you know. So spiritually, no. What's the point of being married and sharing your most intimate moments, not just sex, but just intimacy, conversation, the deepest parts of yourself that you don't disclose to anybody else, only to cheapen that by sharing any parts of yourself with someone else. It takes away from the experience of being one with someone. So that's just my thoughts on it. You guys may have something different. Um, I also have a podcast. Like I said, I'm going to put the connection to it on this video. And I'm working on some other things that I'm trying to get up and started. Something like more of a discussion panel. And once I get that together, I will let you guys know that as well so you could chime in. Because I know sometimes when I'm speaking on something, you guys probably want to say something too. You don't have that opportunity. I'm going to see if I could get one more video in off of this because time is limited. I mean, it's been I think like 2 or 3 days since the beginning of this video, and I got to squeeze it in where I could get it in. But yeah, once I post it, you guys go ahead and hit the podcast, connect with it, and I it let's see where this goes, okay? So until the next time, just, be good to each other, be good to yourself, put God first, and everything else will handle itself. All right? I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.